Welcome to Traveling Texas Moms, where we teach you how to use the world of travel and an optimized life to help busy parents create the freedom to act like kids. I'm your host, Mallory Smith.
And I'm Kindall McMillan. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you aren't already subscribed, please like, subscribe, and follow us on any social media platform at Traveling Texas Moms.
We always appreciate a growing community, and we're grateful for this time with you. Let's roll into today's show. Okay, Kindall. So today we're going to talk about how to survive and enjoy ski trips when you're not from the mountains, like us Texans.
Awesome. So, do we start from the very beginning? Let's talk packing and what do we bring? Maybe? I don't know. What do you want to start with?
Yeah, so if you're listening today, like you'll be able to walk away from this episode with some tips on how to like prepare for both like an adult's trip like the one I went on and a family trip like the one that Kindall went on, both physically and mentally, and drawing from both of our current experiences in the ski season. So I'll get started on this. All right, so like I said, I went on an adult's trip a couple weeks ago, and this is for those of you listening, it would be March, early March when I went. So prime ski season, so I'm told. This was my first time skiing since I was 17. So it's been a minute. My center of gravity had changed. That was a poorly timed joke. You're welcome. Anyway, so like the first things I want to talk about is how I got prepared for it. And so packing wise, I made sure to grab like a couple pairs of thermals because like, they tend to get kind of sweaty and you want to be comfortable. And yeah, so I had two activity days planned. So two pairs of thermals, a couple pairs of ski pants, one solid jacket that I can just wear everywhere. And then, several layers of like long sleeves and pullovers and things like that. So yeah, I wouldn't say that this is the trip to pack a light on because like you don't know what you're gonna get. It's like so for us, it was like 40 degrees on top of the mountain. And so that's warm apparently for snow skiing. And so you didn't really need as many layers, but I was thankful to have them. And then, for like a month leading up to the trip, I decided to start taking the stairs because from what I had heard, there's lots of hills, obviously it's a mountain. um and so like I wanted to be able to climb hills, but also I wanted to have like a good like base level of cardio so that I when I was doing these activities at higher altitude, it's harder to breathe. I wanted to be able to handle that a little bit better, and so I think for the most part it worked. um there's a lot of people in my group that had like those cans of oxygen they were like kind of taking hits off of. Like there's nothing like illegal in the can of oxygen, it's just oxygen. But for the people that got altitude sickness, that seemed to help. And what's funny, since I started taking the stairs, now it's kind of transformed into what I gave up for Lent, and I still haven't taken the elevator at work any day since like the beginning of February. So
That's
um,
awesome.
yeah, I feel accomplished about that, especially when I got like my 20-pound backpack with all of my books and my daily like journals that I keep in there and everything else. Like, it adds
You
a
better
little
be
bit of it.
careful because soon you're going to be putting on ankle weights. We're wearing
Yeah.
those up up the
Get
stairs.
addicted to the workout. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing for me. Okay, so something else to think about other than low oxygen at high altitudes, drinking at high altitudes. So you definitely feel it hit you quicker. So just, word of advice, a little PSA, go slow.
Drink water
Drink
frequently.
lots of water. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I was never as I mean, I was so thirsty the entire trip. Like even when I wasn't drinking, like I was just guzzling water, I guess because the air was just so dry up there. Um, yeah, so just something to be aware of. Also like it's good to be aware of like your environment and the weather and everything. So like first story, some of our group went snow tubing. I think it was snow tubing where they saw it. And they ended up seeing like a moose, like a full-blown moose, which Um, if if you've ever watched any of like the animal channels or anything like that, like they can actually be kind of aggressive. So
Yeah, they're very
it,
territorial.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like it was far enough away, I didn't really notice them or bother them. But it's kind of one of those good things. You don't want to just like mess around in that situation. Like just go about your business. Um, but the other thing was that the last day we were there, a snowstorm blew in, and we basically, if we didn't get out like the next morning, like you weren't getting out for a couple of days. And so we rearranged all of our transportation back to the airport, which it was a 2-hour drive into Denver from Breckenridge. So we ended up moving everything up, and we got out, and there, gosh, I think it was 7 inches of snow fell overnight. And it was going to keep coming. So I'm glad that we paid attention to that stuff. So we actually managed to get out. I don't think Kindall was as lucky on hers.
No, we were not lucky.
Yeah, I'll let you get to that in a second. But my last tip for all of this is, it can be a lot of fun. There can be a lot of things going on these trips. Don't forget to stop and appreciate the beauty of where you are. There were a couple of times where I'm like on top of a mountain and I'm just looking out and I see like snow coming up over some of the mountains, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And I had to take a couple moments just to be grateful for that experience and for everything that was in front of me. So those are
Like
kind
a
of
moose.
like a moose. Yeah, grateful that I didn't come closer to the moose. I didn't actually see it. I wasn't part of that trip. Um, I think the people who had the best rave reviews for an activity that they did was the dog sledding. And when I go back to a mountain, I'd like to try that because that sounded like a lot of fun with a bunch of fun huskies just jumping around, running and barking.
Oh
Sounds
yeah.
sounds great. But so Kendall, let's talk about some things that you learned on your family trip.
Okay, so we went to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and it was our first time ever going to Steamboat. We actually always went to Breckenridge growing up. We've been there many times. We kind of always stay in the same resort. I think it's called like Beaver Creek, something like that. And then there's a
Sounds
place
familiar.
close by
Oh,
that's called like Ski
Beaver
Watch.
Run?
Yes, Beaver
Okay,
Run.
that's where I
That's
was.
okay, yeah, we always stay there. It's a great
Funny.
location on the mountain. Um, yeah, so that's what we were accustomed to. And Steamboat actually does have a similar setup there. Um, the main part of the mountain is like a bunch of shops and stores and stuff, um, and hotels. And they even do like concerts in the summer. Like they'll do country western concerts, and they have a big stage, and it's just beautiful. It's like a nice backdrop to the mountains, and I'm I kind of almost want to go in the summer and just check it out because it's more cowboy country up there.
I bet it'd be a relief from the Texas heat too.
Yeah, no kidding. Not even gonna talk about that right now. It's nice. That doesn't exist yet. I'm not worried about it. Um, but yeah, so we had never been to Steamboat, and my kids have never been skiing before. And so we brought our 8-year-old, our 6-year-old, and then our 2-year-old who will be 3 in a matter of weeks. And so a lesson learned in that regard is don't take a 2-year-old or under. Wait till they're at least 3 and they can be in ski school and benefit from being in the class with an instructor. Um,
And
unless
mom
you're
and dad can have some time to ski for themselves.
yeah. Yeah, we we didn't get to, sneak her in as a almost 3-year-old. So we took turns at the base of the mountain. My husband would go do a run, and then I would, and my dad and brother would go, and everybody would get a little time with the 2-year-old, which was actually really fun and really nice. She liked just sitting outside. And like you said, it was in the mid 40s. That's the same for us. I mean, it was so hot out there. We were skiing without our heavy coats. We took our gloves off. People weren't wearing thermals by the last day. Like you couldn't have asked for better ski weather. I mean, it was unbelievable. Um, but then that snowstorm, or no, I guess it wasn't the same snowstorm that hit you, but it was another snowstorm that hit on the last day when we were trying to fly out. And so we got to spend like 9 hours at the Yampa Valley Regional Airport, and just for our flight to be canceled. And then we had to drive back into Steamboat for the night, grabbed one of the last um, hotels, and then we drove back the next day to the airport and luckily got on a flight. But yeah, it was pretty tough doing that with
So
3 kids.
that was gonna be my next place I went. I'm like, you've got an almost 3-year-old with you. Like, how did you keep
Yeah.
her occupied and keep yourself sane during all of that?
So the airport actually had a cute little play area for kids, and it was maybe, a 10 by 10 room. It wasn't big at all, but it
You're like,
had
I'll
like that.
take any amount of it.
Yeah, it had the foam padding on the floor so they couldn't really injure themselves. And then like these hard plastic uh play set pieces that like all kind of go together in different ways. You can configure them,
Yeah.
make all kinds of stuff. So they got really creative and it actually kept them very entertained. And I tried to find the same play set when I got home, does Amazon have it?
That's
They
funny.
don't. But
Oh, well.
yeah, bummer. But yeah, so skiing with kids was a real good treat. It just seemed like not that long ago, I remember being in ski school myself and then getting to ski with my daughter, my 8-year-old, on that last day. And I was just right behind her and just filming her with my phone, just like, you can do it. It's just such a cool experience. And
Yeah. I
um,
guarantee you that her skill level was better than mine. So I tried one blue um on this trip because I only did skiing for a day because I figured my body would be wrecked afterwards. Um, and I got to like a really steep part and I just pizzaed the whole way down. Like I started to go faster than what I was comfortable with. And I'm like, nope, nope, my thighs are burning, but we ain't going any faster at this point.
oh.
Yeah, that was and I think I texted you the video and you're like, more French fry, less pizza. I'm like, no, this is as much as we're getting. And it probably doesn't help. Like I'm a very accident prone person, or at least I was when I was younger. I take fewer risks these days. But there was some wagers back home amongst the rest of my family as to when I would get hurt or if I would get hurt while skiing. So me being my stubborn self, I was refusing to let them win that.
See, my theory is you entered that wager as anonymous and then
I
you
threw
bet
it,
that
is
you
what you're
wouldn't get
saying?
injured.
Yeah.
Just did the pizza down the whole mountain.
I mean, sure, look at it however you want. I'm not ashamed. I did okay. To your point about ski school though, I noticed something as well. So like the mountain would be pretty crowded. When it first opens, it wasn't too bad. Maybe about an hour after it opened, it was full force and like all the kids were in ski school, all the parents were on the slopes. And right around like probably 1 or 2 o'clock when the ski school would get out, everybody would go home. And so if you wanted to kind of like skip the busy time, maybe you go early and take a mid-morning break and then come back out in the afternoon after the kids were out of their ski school. That seemed to work for a lot of
Smart.
people in our group that went all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Steamboat would get away with that because we would have to pick up the kids by like 2:45, I think, in the afternoon, and then the lifts closed at 3 or
Oh yeah.
3:15. So
I
I
think
mean that's enough for one more run.
sure.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I it wasn't crowded. I wasn't thinking like, "Oh man, I'm never coming back here." we want to go again. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, no,
can
I
I
mean,
talk about specific things that we did for maybe somebody who doesn't ski? Did we
yeah,
want to
yeah, I
cover
think
that at
that's,
all?
yeah, go ahead. I mean, I already talked about
Okay,
dog
so
sledding and snow tubing.
I want to pull up this business that we used. Hold on, I just want to get the name right. Not that we get any kind of kickback from it.
Not
But
this early in the podcast.
um
We are available for sponsorships, though.
uh okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. I kind of know the general spelling of it because I think it might be like German or something.
Oh, this should be good.
Well, it doesn't want to find it for me because I'm back here. I'm back home.
Oh,
It's wanting me to go to Home Depot.
maybe
That's
we can maybe we can do an Instagram post, towards
Oh,
them
okay.
and
Well, I'll find it, but I do want to say we did tubing, um, which I have never done. We've done the dog sledding in Breckenridge.
Mhm.
We've done the snowmobiling also, which both are amazing, but we'd never done the tubing. And Steamboat has a place where you can do like a horse-drawn sleigh ride, tubing. They have beginner ski runs that are even cheaper for just like a day pass or something. If you don't want to do the whole ski school thing,
Mhm.
you can just go over to this little mountain that's kind of maybe city owned or something. And yeah, I think it's like I'll have to look up the exact price. I don't want to tell you the wrong number, but it's a great little hill for beginners and the tubing was awesome. The 2-year-old did the tubing and you have to go by yourself. They don't let you put her on your lap.
Oh,
So
wow, so
she
she
did
was
it.
brave.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of videos. It's like the cutest thing. She's got her big goggles on and um yeah, it was so much fun. Great people that run it. So yeah, there's plenty of things to do if you don't ski. So
Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah.
ended up doing one of those horse-drawn sleigh rides, which they were very nice people and it was enjoyable. It's just a lot more slow paced. So first off, don't call it a horse-drawn sleigh ride if it's actually a mule. I was very disappointed because I thought I was going to get to meet some draft horses and I met draft mules instead, which they were cute too. I mean, they were still pretty big and they pulled well. A little cranky. One of them got a little bitey, you know, but no, just I went up there and we were trying to pet their
That's
nose
perfect.
and
His name was Bitey.
no, he was bitey.
I
His name
know.
was not
I'm
bitey.
saying his name was Bitey too.
No, that is not true. Anyways, um, but yeah, I mean, so we got in the sleigh and I and this is my fault for like setting my own expectations, but we went through this park. I thought it was going to be a cabin. You're going to go to like a campsite in the mountains. We went through like a park that was hilly and you ended up at this campsite and they had hot cocoa and peppermint schnapps and chocolate chip cookies waiting for you. And then there's this guy singing and playing guitar, an older guy, and he was really good, very very entertaining. He sang very well. And but like for me, I'm dairy free, so the hot cocoa was a no go. So I just went with the shot of the warm peppermint schnapps, which was great. It was a lot sweeter than I
Did the
expected. I thought
sleigh ride go a lot faster after that?
no, things slowed down a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the fastest sleigh ride.
No, no, it was just one shot. So and it paired well with the cookie. I'll give you that. So yeah, it was good, and they were so nice. The people that worked it were so nice. It's just I think at that point, especially if I'm on an adults only trip, like I want to do the fun things, I want to do the fast paced things. It was a little bit slower than what I was expecting,
Yeah.
and the horses were slightly smaller, mules.
So
Anyways,
we've done that mule drawn carriage. But this was years ago, probably back in like 2013 was the
Hmm.
last time we were in Breckenridge. That was the last time I've skied,
Wow.
actually.
Wow. So you've gone
So,
even longer. Oh, wait, no. Never mind. Mine was 2007.
oh, okay.
It's late.
Um,
You're almost to my bedtime.
you old lady.
I know.
Um, so yeah, we did that mule ride
Hmm.
and it was really fun. And they brought you up to a tent and they actually provided some kind of like cowboy dinner.
Oh, yeah.
But that was, obviously pre-COVID, long time
Well, no,
ago.
they
So I don't
still
know if
did
they
that.
did.
Yeah. So they had an evening one where they offered that kind of
Oh,
a setup.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just
Yeah.
remember that being really nice because I do remember there being some live entertainment.
Hmm.
Um, and it was just a great, I mean, that tent was so warm. It was a great evening.
Yeah.
The horses were beautiful. I'm sorry, mules, whatever they were. They look like the
They're very large
Clydesdales.
mules. Yeah, and that's the thing is like so
Yeah.
some of them were like the Clydesdale draft mixes, and then others were there was like one team of Belgian draft horses, and they were kind of like a
Maybe
light
that's what they
beige.
had. Yeah, that kind of rings a bell.
Yeah.
But yeah, that the sleigh thing does go a lot slower than you expect.
Hmm. Yeah.
But they're
Um
going up the mountain, so that's probably tough.
yeah, it wasn't that steep for us. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um But yeah, so one thing I didn't touch on as far as like the adults trip was the evening activities. So I will say Breckenridge has a really good nightlife scene. Like better than I expected it for being a smaller town and kind of like condensed like old school like downtown area, very classic. But it really comes alive at night with all of the skiers going out. There was one place that we ended up both nights, and they had one of the best bourbon selections that I'd seen, like just really cool bottles you don't normally see. Like I want to say there were like three or four different like Calumets, there were some Whistle Pigs. As if you couldn't tell, I like bourbon. This collection that I have behind me, and a lot of those are collected while I travel as well. So that's kind of like it's a souvenir, and you get to continue enjoying it later. So
Wait, you actually open yours?
some
I
of
thought you're
them, well, okay,
supposed
well,
to
here's my
let them
thing.
age on your shelf
Yeah, I'm not really. I
until
will
your kids
save,
start sneaking them in high school.
right? It's likely to happen. Um, if you have,
Refill
of
it with water. I never did that.
course not.
No, I didn't.
Neat,
Seriously, I
neat.
didn't do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I lied. Anyways, yeah, so this one bar, I think it's called the Prospector. They had a great selection. The waitress was just absolutely, she the same girl both nights, helped us out, and she was just the sweetest, and she was on top of her stuff. Like, um, I really enjoyed that. And the coolest part was that Saturday night, that last night we were there, that snowstorm had already come in like around dinner time. And so on the way back from the bar, like it looks like a Hallmark movie outside. Like it's the streets are just covered, and that probably we'd already gotten like 3 or 4 inches by the time that we were done for the night. And it was just piling up, and there were lights in
Oh,
the trees.
how
Like,
pretty.
yeah, it was a really great experience, but I would suggest Breckenridge for I think it'd work for both an adults and a family trip either way. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
What
so
about I know a lot of ski towns can have that culture of, how do I say this?
they're not in a
Mm,
rush to do anything.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe not as much of attention to detail. Uh
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
definitely happened. I think you just have to go with the expectations that it's like if you go to a surf town, right? It's the same idea, same cultures. Like they just kind of operate on their own way of
yeah,
doing things, their own timetables.
yeah.
Not always prepared to keep up with a group of, I think there was like 32, 34 of us that would show up for meals. That freaked them out a little bit. Some handled it very well, some got pretty cranky early on, and we politely asked for somebody else to come and take care of us. But yeah, I think it's just you got to set those expectations early on. Um, but yeah, let's we're about out of time, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. So if there's anything that you're going to take away from this episode, um my number one points would be that to remember that there's less oxygen up there. So take care of yourself, mentally, physically. Try and do some prep cardio before you go, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy your time a little bit more. And then I think Kindall brought up a great point. Like as long as you set the expectations for the ski culture, and you kind of make some plans accordingly as far as like food and entertainment and lodging and all of that. Just make sure you're covered ahead of time. Then I think it'll set you up for a good time. Kindall, what are your top two takeaways?
I really liked how you prepared your body for being in a higher altitude and you started doing cardio, a little bit of strength training with taking the stairs. I think that's really important. I'm a avid Pilates person, so I was definitely prepared for it and it definitely came in handy. My thighs were not a problem at all. Just those darn ski boots, how tight you have to make them. That was probably the only uncomfortable part. But
So maybe your point would be good socks. Pack good socks.
yeah, thick wool socks that go up, at least to mid calf.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. Reach out to us. Let us know how you're utilizing our show and in your life, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.